Hi, my name is Kent Oliver. I'm the director of the Nashville Public Library, and as it happens, a former chair of the Freedom to Read Foundation and ALA's Committee on Intellectual Freedom. And what I would like to read for you today is a statement from the Intellectual Freedom Manual of ALA called the Freedom to Read. It's an interesting statement, and I'll tell you a little bit more about it when I finish. We believe rather that what people read is deeply important, that ideas can be dangerous, but that the suppression of ideas is fatal to a democratic society. Freedom itself is a dangerous way of life, but it is ours. The initial Freedom to Read statement was issued in May of 1953 by the Westchester Conference of the American Library Association and the American Book Publishers Council. It has been changed and edited and updated several times since then, but it is basically the same document that was created in 1953. The thing I find so interesting about that document is that you could easily change 1953 to 2012 in regard to the attacks on our beliefs and the attacks on our ability to have free expression and freedom to read. Thank you.
He seldom kept anything of value in his locker. The school was notorious for borrowers, kids who weren't exactly thieves but walked off with anything that wasn't nailed down or locked up. No sense buying a lock. It would be busted the first day. Privacy was virtually non-existent at Trinity. Most of the kids didn't give a damn or have any respect for the rights of others. They rummaged desks, pried lockers open, sifted through books on a perennial search for loot. Money, pot, books, watches, clothing, anything. The morning after that first night phone call, Jerry opened his locker and shook his head in disbelief. His poster had been smeared with ink or some kind of blue paint. The message had been virtually obliterated. "Do I dare disturb the universe?" was now a grotesque jumble of unconnected letters. It was such a senseless, childish act of vandalism that Jerry was more awed than angered. Who'd do such a crazy thing? Looking down, he saw that his new gym sneakers had been slashed, the canvas now limp shreds, rag-like. He'd made the mistake of leaving them here overnight. Ruining the poster was one thing, a gross act, the work of an animal, and all schools had animals, even Trinity. But there was nothing prankish about ruining the sneakers. That was deliberate, somebody sending him a message. The phone calls, the attack on the football field, and now this. He closed the locker quickly so no one would see the damage. For some reason, he felt ashamed.
Pap weren't in good humor, so he was his natural self. He said he was down to town and everything was going wrong. His lawyer said he reckoned he would win his lawsuit and get the money if they ever got started on the trial. But then there was ways to put it off a long time, and Judge Thatcher knowed how to do it. And he said people allowed there to be another trial to get me away from him and give me to the widow for my guardian, and they guessed it would win this time. That shook me up considerable, because I didn't want to go back to the widow's anymore and be so cramped up and civilized, as they called it. Then the old man got to cussing, and cussed everything and everybody he could think of, and then cussed them all over again to make sure he hadn't skipped any. And after that he polished off with a kind of general cuss all around, including a considerable parcel of people which he didn't know the names of, and so called him what's-his-name when he got around to him, and went right along with his cussing. He said he'd like to see the widow get me. He said he would watch out, and if they tried to come any such game on him, he knowed of a place 6 or 7 miles off to stow me in, where they might hunt till they dropped and they couldn't find me. That made me pretty uneasy again, but only for a minute. I reckoned I wouldn't stay on hand till he got the chance. The old man made me go to the skiff and fetch the things he'd got. There was a 50-pound sack of cornmeal, and a side of bacon, ammunition, and a 4-gallon jug of whiskey, and an old book and 2 newspapers for waiting, besides some tow. I towed it up a load and went back and sat down on the bow of the skiff to rest. I thought it all over, and I reckoned I'd walk off with the gun and some lines and take to the woods when I run away. I guess I wouldn't stay in one place, but just tramp right across the country, mostly night times, and hunt and fish to keep alive, and so get so far away that the old man nor that widow could never find me anymore. I judged I'd saw out and leave the night, and if Pap got drunk, and I reckoned he would, I got so full of it I didn't notice how long I was staying, till the old man hollered and asked me whether I was asleep or drowned.
The marvelous plan. George sat himself down at the table in the kitchen. He was shaking a little. Oh, how he hated Grandma. He really hated that horrid old witchy woman. And all of a sudden he had a tremendous urge to do something about her. Something whopping. Something absolutely terrific. A real shocker. A sort of explosion. He wanted to blow away the witchy smell that hung about her in the next room. He may have been only 8 years old, but he was a brave little boy. He was ready to take this old woman on. I'm not going to be afraid by her, he said softly to himself, but he was frightened, and that's why he suddenly wanted to explode her away. Well, not quite away, but he did want to shake the old woman up a bit. Very well then, what should it be, this whopping, terrific, exploding shocker for Grandma? He would have liked to put a firecracker under her chair, but he didn't have one. He would have liked to put a long green snake down the back of her dress, but he didn't have a long green snake. He would have liked to put 6 big black rats in the room with her and lock the door, but he didn't have 6 big black rats. As George sat there pondering this interesting problem, his eyes fell upon the bottle of Grandma's brown medicine standing on the sideboard. Rotten stuff it seemed to be. 4 times a day a large spoonful of it was shoveled into her mouth, and it didn't do her the slightest bit of good. She was always just as horrid after she'd had it as she had been before. The whole point of medicine, surely, was to make a person better. If it didn't do that, then it was quite useless. So ho, thought George suddenly. Aha, ho hum. I know exactly what I'll do. I'll make her a new medicine, one that is so strong and so fierce and so fantastic that it will either cure her completely or blow off the top of her head. I'll make her a magic medicine, a medicine no doctor in the world has ever made before. George looked at the kitchen clock. It said 10:05. There was nearly an hour left before Grandma's next dose was due at 11. Here we go then, cried George, jumping up from the table. A magic medicine it shall be. So give me a bug and a jumping flea, give me 2 snails and lizards 3, and a slimy squiggler from the sea, and the poisonous sting of a bumblebee, and the juice from the fruit of the jujube tree, and the powdered bone of a wombat's knee, and 100 other things as well, each with a rather nasty smell. I'll stir them up, I'll boil them long, a mixture tough, a mixture strong. And then, hey-ho, and down it goes, a nice big spoonful, hold your nose. Just gulp it down and have no fear. How do you like it, Granny dear? Will she go pop? Will she explode? Will she go flying down the road? Will she go poof in a puff of smoke? Start fizzing like a can of Coke? Who knows? Not I. Let's wait and see. I'm glad it's neither you nor me. Oh, Grandma, if you only knew what I have got in store for you.
So today we're going to be reading excerpts from Stregonona by Tommy DePaula. That's Stregonona. In a town in Calabria a long time ago, there lived an old lady everyone called Stregonona, which meant Grandma Witch. Although all the people in town talked about her in whispers, they all went to see her if they had troubles. Even the priest and the sisters of the convent went, because Stregonona did have a magic touch. She could cure a headache with oil and water and a hairpin. She made special potions for the girls who wanted husbands, and she was very good at getting rid of warts. But Stregonona was getting old, and she needed someone to help her keep her little house and garden, so she put up a sign in the town square. Did I just mess that sentence up?
No, you did good.
Sure?
Yeah.
Do I need to start over?
Nope.
Okay.
I'm going to edit all this out.
Okay. And Big Anthony, who didn't pay attention, went to see her. "Anthony," said Stregonona, "you must sweep the house and wash the dishes. You must weed the garden and pick the vegetables. You must feed the goat and milk her, and you must fetch the water. For this I will give you 3 coins and a place to sleep and food to eat." "Oh, grazie," said Big Anthony. "The one thing you must never do," said Stregonona, "is touch the pasta pot. It is very valuable, and I don't let anyone touch it. Oh, si, yes, said Big Anthony. And so the days went by. Big Anthony did his work, and Stregonona met with the people who came to see her for headaches and husbands and warts. Big Anthony had a nice bed to sleep in next to the goat shed, and he had food to eat. One evening, when Big Anthony was milking the goat, he heard Stregonona singing. Peeking in the window, he saw Stregonona standing over the pasta pot. Bubble, bubble, pasta pot, boil me some pasta, nice and hot. I'm hungry and it's time to sup. Boil enough pasta to fill me up. And the pasta pot bubbled and boiled and was suddenly filled with steaming hot pasta. Then Stregonona sang, Enough, enough, pasta pot. I have my pasta nice and hot. So simmer down, my pot of clay, until I'm hungry another day. How wonderful, said Big Anthony. That's a magic pot for sure. And Stregonona called Big Anthony in for supper. But too bad for Big Anthony, because he didn't see Stregonona blow 3 kisses to the magic pasta pot.
After they had watched Maybelle tearing up the hill, clutching her new treasure, Jess and Leslie turned and ran up over the empty field behind the old Perkins place and down to the dry creek bed that separated farmland from the woods. There was an old crabapple tree there, just at the bank of the creek bed, from which someone long forgotten had hung a rope. They took turns swinging across the gully on the rope. It was a glorious autumn day, and if you looked up as you swung, it gave you the feeling of floating. Jess leaned back and drank in the rich, clear color of the sky. He was drifting like a fat, white, lazy cloud back and forth across the blue. Do you know what we need? Leslie called to him. Intoxicated as he was with the heavens, he couldn't imagine needing anything on earth. We need a place, she said, just for us. It would be so secret we would never tell anyone in the whole world about it. Jess came swinging back and dragged his feet to stop. She lowered her voice almost to a whisper. It might be a whole secret country, she continued, and you and I would be the rulers of it. Her words stirred inside of him. He'd like to be a ruler of something, even something that wasn't real. Okay, he said. Where could we have it? Over there in the woods where nobody would come and mess it up. There were parts of the woods that Jess did not like. Dark places where it was almost like being underwater, but he didn't say so. I know, she was getting excited. It could be a magic country like Narnia, and the only way you can get in is by swinging across on this enchanted rope. Her eyes were bright. She grabbed the rope. Come on, she said, let's find a place to build our castle stronghold. They had gotten only a few yards into the woods beyond the creek bed when Leslie stopped. How about right here, she asked. Sure, Jess agreed quickly, relieved that there was no need to plunge deeper into the woods. He would take her there, of course, for he wasn't such a coward that he would mind a little exploring now and then farther in amongst the ever-darkening columns of the tall pines. But as a regular thing, as a permanent place, this was where he would choose to be. Here in the dogwood, and Redbud played hide-and-seek between the oaks and the evergreens, and the sun flung itself in golden streams through the trees to splash warmly at their feet. Sure, he repeated himself, nodding vigorously. The underbrush was dry and would be easy to clear away. The ground was almost level. This will be a good place to build. Leslie named their secret land Terabithia, and she leaned Jess all of her books about Narnia so he would know how things went in a magic kingdom, how the animals and the trees must be protected, and how a ruler must behave. That was the hard part. When Leslie spoke, the words rolling out so regally, you knew she was a proper queen. He could hardly manage English, much less a poetic language of a king. But he could make stuff. They dragged boards and other materials down from the scrap heap by Miss Bessie's pasture and built their castle stronghold in the place they had found in the woods. Leslie filled a 3-pound coffee can with crackers and dried fruit and a 1-pound can with strings and nails. They found 5 old Pepsi bottles, which they washed and filled with water, in case, as Leslie said, of siege. Like God in the Bible, they looked at what they had made and found it very good. You should draw a picture of Terabithia for us to hang in the castle, Leslie said. I can't. How could he explain it in a way Leslie would understand? How he yearned to reach out and capture the quivering life about him, and how when he tried, it slipped past his fingertips, leaving a dry fossil upon the page. "I just can't get the poetry of the trees," he said. She nodded. "Don't worry," she said. "You will someday." He believed her because in the shadowy light of the stronghold, everything seemed possible. Between the two of them, they owned the world, and no enemy, Gary Fulcher, Wanda K. Moore, Janice Avery, Jess's own fears and insufficiencies, nor any of the foes whom Leslie imagined attacking Terabithia could ever really defeat them.